How's it going?
We're doing all right. Just
marvelous.
I'm riding that Hamish still, man. It just feels good.
Funny is that could also be because hashish is the name of a drug. So you'd be like, oh, here's some Hamish.
Oh, man. If only.
They have the same effect almost. All right. No.
What's up?
Anyway. Yeah, I was just going to... I wanted to call in to give you a real quick deal here. I've been an atheist for about 3 years, and I've got a 5-year-old daughter and actually our stories are a lot alike. A logic out of it. So, but I got a 5-year-old daughter and a 4-year-old daughter, and my 5-year-old is from kindergarten, and she was really upset this week when she found out that next year she was going to be in first grade, and she would no longer have her teacher or her classroom or anything like that, and maybe even a different school entirely. And she was really disappointed. And I started talking to her about, well, hey, things are finite, and this is going to end, but we appreciate it and love it the way it is. And just because this ends doesn't mean first grade won't be amazing, and you won't love your teacher there, and you could be even more fun, and that sort of thing. And then suddenly I realized I was talking to her about basically, changes of state, where she moves from, one state to the next, and maybe the next is better, and I was leaving the door wide open for the afterlife.
Yeah. I would say that first it's important to, as much as I'm going to sound like a self-help book, it's important to validate the feelings that your daughter has.
Sure.
So I'm worried, or like I'm disappointed and I'm upset because I won't have the same teacher, the same friends, or be in the same situation next year that I am in this year. I entirely understand that. Like as a child, I never moved. I lived in the same room for the first 18 years of my life. And actually, I slept in the same bed for like the first 17 and a half of them. And even when I was taller than my bed, it was still the same. So the change of state being something that's weird and uncomfortable and frightening, I entirely understand that, even as a 25-year-old.
Right.
And when it comes to broaching the topic of death, you said your daughters were how old?
5 and 4.
Well, they're 5 and 4, and admittedly, this is not something that's really a topic as much as like I'm trying to be a proactive parent and thinking, okay, well, when I have this conversation eventually, when a beloved pet dies, and even then it's a change of state. But I started thinking about it, when talking about their own death.
Yeah.
It started me thinking about what, I don't even know how to have a conversation as an atheist. Or what I guess my question is like, how do you guys, what is your perspective, and what have you heard or people I could look into that we've talked on the topic about? Life is state from one thing to the next, but then when we're talking about death, it's the end of state, and dealing with that concept here, and
I want to tackle this in 2 parts. The first part is child development, right? It's good that you have this thought already bubbling up. How am I going to deal with it? It just means you're a good parent, man, and that's all right. One of the worst things a parent is going to have to do, one of the worst things that you're going to have to go through, is watching them grieve. It hurts. It hurts so bad. And what so many people want to do is come up with oh, no, you'll see that puppy again, right? And you sell them that false hope. And I think that in the long run, that's one huge piece of baggage that they won't have to, deal with that most other people do. That's something you can definitely take comfort in. And the other is that, I'm sorry, I got off the child development thing. I know you've got something, but for child development, 7 years old is a good time. They actually, most schools will be talking and bring those kinds of subjects will be brought up in books that they'll be reading in class, and that's a really good time to bring it up. It's gonna happen naturally, and it's for a lot of that, especially at their age, they're gonna look at you to model for them how important that it is, right? So if you make it a sit down, we're gonna talk about death, right? Versus this is what happens. This is a matter of course. That can really help, kind of help your daughters be able to navigate that later on when they look at it and they don't give it this huge amount of weight.
Yeah. I would say don't try and underplay it too much, right? Like
no, but
yeah. Well, I mean, like obviously, like don't bring in a clown who's juggling and like whatever. Yeah.
The death clown. Oh man, I want to see that fan art. Okay.
You know, there's a book by Stephen King I can.
Oh.
Okay, but you had...
yeah, so a couple of things. One, I would just to piggyback a little bit on lots of people want to say, oh no, you'll see that puppy again, or like, oh no, it's the response of, it's not that bad is very human. You see a person that you care about in pain, and you want them to not feel that pain, and they wouldn't feel that pain if it wasn't as bad. So it's not that bad, but it is. It is bad, and saying it's not is a kind of denial, which is something that humans are very, very, very good at. I know, not because I've ever done it. I deny ever having used denial to deal with things.
That's going to be a meme, you know that? It's going to say Jamie in a kind of denial. This has come up more than once.
Jamie is a kind of denial. No, and the statement about that is denial works until it doesn't, and then it all comes crashing down in a bigger way. But I have one. There's lots of secular parenting books. There's fewer secular parenting books than there are other kinds of parenting books because our society is the way it is. But there are a couple of those. But I would recommend. I'm not sure if your kids have a favorite children's book series. There's a book series called I think Elephant and Piggy, something like that. One of those books is called "We're in a Book" or something. Why did I not Google that?
We're in a book.
Eric, yeah. And the two main characters realize that they are in a book, and that book will end, and that when the book ends, the story that they're telling will end. Yeah. And so it's Elephant, I think, is worried about this, and he goes, "Oh no, like I'm gonna disappear." And then the next page, Piggy's there alone. He's like, "I wonder where he went." And then the next page, Elephant is back. "There's only 36 more pages. What am I gonna do?" It's like, Elephant, calm down. And then the next page is like, "Now there's only 35." And Piggy talks him through, like, well, look, we've got 35 more pages, and every book has an ending, and that doesn't mean that it can't be one that's, positive and full of laughter and joy. Obviously, he doesn't say, you can live a good book life with whatever, but the concept of, just because the party is going to end doesn't mean that you shouldn't blow out the candles, make a wish, dance, blow whatever those annoying party things are. Use a kazoo.
Yeah. That was beautiful.
Thank you.
That was beautiful.
Yeah.
Does that help? Does that help give you a start? There are
the book recommendation is really good. It gives a good perspective. I think I don't remember, Eric. Did you have a second thing that you were going to say? I forget. But for me, part of it too was branching off of the kids was almost a philosophical question in terms of how you guys handle the discussions with people who have a fear of the end. Even at an adult level. I'm not talking necessarily the kids. It just got me thinking in terms of I've never thought of, I've only been atheist for 3 years. It's not like I've had any of those conversations.
So the first thing I would say is That is way too big of a topic for us to be able to
next week
reasonably
exists.
answer for you. We suggest you I take a look at some secular communities, because I think that ties in with community.
There's also organizations as well.
There are organizations. Recovering from Religion is one of them. There's secular
Grief Beyond Belief.
Yeah.
Is also one that deals specifically with that as a question.
When it comes to fear of death, dude, it sucks.
Well,
but
yeah. I'll put the caveat that it's not. I'm not worried about it. It's more of like I just wanted to find a better ways to talk about it with other people and more fit into my own conversations with my family and my daughters and stuff like that. So
yeah. My problem is that I've only been in. Well, here we're over time. Josh, are you comfortable calling back next week if you want? Or actually, if you wanted to get in touch with us in between now and next week, there's an email address.
mail@talktoon.com.
How did you know? Psychics are real, I believe.
And
there's also a Facebook page. You can find us on Facebook at Talk Heathen.
Who'd have guessed? Right? We actually have our own website.
Psychics would have guessed, because they're magic.
So, we're going to let you go, man, but feel free to call in anytime. And, it's a really interesting topic to go into. That it means that you got to look at a lot of pain and healing, and most people generally don't like doing that, but it is something that...
it's easier just to deny that it exists.
But when you get into it, it's worth having. It's worth that discussion. It's worth that thought. So I'm glad that you're getting into it. And please feel free to call back.
All right, guys. I appreciate taking the time.
Thanks for calling in, Josh.